I'm Caitlin Morris. Welcome to Bergen Spotlight. Tonight I'm here with John Celio, the owner of Maplewood Hobby, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about what he does. Welcome
Hi,
to
how
our
are you?
show.
How you doing?
So you own a hobby shop. How did you get started?
Well, when I was younger, very young, I was into trains, and a lot of my age people all got into hobbies. Kept you busy. You know, we didn't have TV like you have today, so it kept it past the time. So I always wanted to have a shop, and I always thought that it'd be a good idea. It's not a very good business idea, but it's a good idea.
So at what point did you decide to turn your hobby into an actual business?
I decided when my son was about 1 year old, I said to myself that, there's no hobby shops around anymore, and they all went away, So we said, let's open one. Thought it was a good idea. And we started, about 20 years ago.
What range of items do you have?
Well, we're a general hobby shop. So what that means is we do everything from models to trains, rockets, pine car for Cub Scouts. And our newest thing has been gaming. Gaming in the sense of fantasy and historicals.
Do you have like a typical age group that, tends to come in a lot?
Well, we start young. You might have a father come in with their son or daughter, but mostly sons, and they might build a model when they're 6 years old, and then we can range all the way up to 55, 60. So we have a pretty large range. Mostly guys, but some girls come in.
Before you mentioned wargaming, tell us about that. What is that?
Well, wargaming is actually new to me. I've only been playing war games for about 8 years. And I was always a chess fan, so everybody here has played chess. And the wargaming has been now historicals, Civil War, American Revolution, Napoleonics. And the nice thing about it, it's a very social event. You don't play on a computer, you play on a tabletop with figures. And most of it's making fun of the other guy, but you do try to do some strategy, and we actually recreate battles from all the different time periods.
Now, is it you talked about chess, how is it in relation to chess, for people who don't understand?
Well, chess, if you think about chess, you're trying to control parts of the board. Well, with any battle system, you want to control parts of the battle, time and space, and flanking maneuvers, stuff like that. And even for the kids that play, a lot of them play fantasy stuff. It's the same basic thing, strategy, and it can be quite involved. And the good thing about it gets some of the kids that aren't maybe so physically, they don't play baseball or they don't play football, but they can play the games, and gets them out of their shell, and they get to play and win and lose. We really push for good sportsmanship, is what we look for.
How do these kinds of games, what do they have to do with your store in general?
Well, we have tables where people can play. They buy their stuff at the store, and then they play. And each system, there's, hundreds of systems out there now, have their good, some really good, some okay, and they have their unique attributes, I guess, Right. And the kids especially love the fantasy things, almost like Lord of the Rings, that type of genre, And what's really good is that the kids, we help them assemble their models. We help them paint. We have painting classes. But we also do stuff for free for the kids. We help them if they have trouble. They can't figure out how to put something together. We'll kind of help.
How do you think that hobby stores are impacting the kids that come in? How do you think it helps them, in their lives?
Many of the kids that come in socially backwards.
Right.
Some dad's not around. Either he's working a lot, and quite frankly, a lot of fathers don't really know how to relate to their kids. And gaming is one of the things that they could do with their children, and board gaming too. It doesn't have to be just what we do. It could be other stuff. But it helps the kids. They start to become more outgoing, and they get a better better sense of sociability. You know, fair sportsmanship, that kind of thing. So.
You mentioned that hobbying. I know that hobbying is very popular among Cub Scouts. You talked about it before. And you also talked about the Pinewood Derby. What is that?
Well, the Pinewood Derby, if you're a Cub Scout, and some of the Girl Scout packs are doing it too, or the groups, is they build these little wooden racers, and they have to be a certain size and weight, and they customize them, and then they just go down the track, and all of them come in, and we offer a place to hold Cub Scout meetings, and sometimes the dens don't have something to do, and they could come into the store, and we show them how to do hobbies, and it works out quite well.
So teamwork has a lot to do with hobbying.
Yeah, well, you know, the father-son thing. We have many fathers come in. I want to get my son off the computer.
Right.
I want him to build something, and it's great for imagination and stuff like that. So,
what does do you think that hobbying is making a comeback? I know that it was very popular. My grandfather did it.
Almost everyone did it back then. I don't think it'll ever be as popular as when I was a kid, only because there's too many other distractions, the internet, the electronic games and such. But we have a place and a niche. I think once people try what we do, they're hooked. We just have a father come in a couple weeks ago that wanted to see what his son was doing, and now he's playing at the store. So once you, even D&D, I mean, the same thing. We play D&D at the store. It's the same thing. It's like the social aspect is so much better than sitting in front of your computer.
What would be good starter hobbies? Like if people, they want to start doing it, but they don't really know where to, it's kind of overwhelming. What would be a good place to start? Like what kinds?
Well, you know, building a model, you start at the low end. And we help people. And a lot of the stores that do still exist, they're helpful. You know, they'll sit down with you and say, okay, you don't want this real expensive model. You want like an easier model to do. And we start them, get the right paint, get the right glue, and try to get, you don't want the person to fail. You know, you want them to come out with a happy ending with that. So.
How has it affected your life personally? Like,
it's been very rewarding. I've met some wonderful people. Some of the people that come in and play have become friends. And most of the people that play in our store are very, very smart. And it's a pleasure to meet them and know them.
How do the older generations feel about your hobby store, and what have you gotten out of it? Like, what do they tell you about it?
Well, the older people that come in, I remember this as a kid. The younger, and some of them I said, oh, that's what my grandson does, and stuff like that. And it's been really a lot of fun meeting the people and getting to know them.
How do they feel about hobbying as a comeback? Like, do they think that
they hope it does? Yeah. Older people always hope that it goes back to the way that when they were kids. It never will, but there's a place for this type of. There is a small niche for this. Is okay, and I think it'll flourish and get bigger at some point.
What do you think is the right age to get kids involved with hobbying?
We don't really. We try to recommend like 6 years old, but some kids at 5 are pretty good, and some kids at 7 or 8 are pretty good. So it depends. We ask questions of the parents. How's he do with Legos? How is he do? You know, and it's very important because you don't want the kid to be frustrated. You want him to have a good experience.
Do you hope that your store will carry on like through your kids and further generations?
I hope so. My son, my youngest, wants to help me stay in business. It's a very difficult business, though. A lot of competition, but I think we offer something unique. That's a place you can come to. You don't just send a wafer and it comes in the mail. You can come there and you can talk to us. It's very important.
Is your store pretty much the only one in the area, or how about
pretty much, yeah.
In New Jersey?
There's a number of stores in New Jersey. Most of them are closed. New York, it's tough.
Do you
tough
think
business.
it's just this area in particular, like the New York area? Like, do you think hobbying is like,
It's well, I'll tell you. Here's hobbying is more popular in where it's very, very hot and very, very cold. New Jersey's climate's very temperate, so people are outside playing soccer, playing baseball. So you don't get as many people hobbying in this area. But as you go north and you go south, you see people doing crafts and hobbies.
what are your top sellers? Like when people come in, like what is it that they are there for?
Believe it or not, most people come in for paint and glue and tools because that spans all of the hobbies.
Right.
You're putting a model together, you need paint. You're putting trains together, you need paint. So if you told me any one thing, probably paint and glue and stuff like that. And that's how I ran my store. My store is run so that that is most important in the store. And then the other things feed into that. And everything's a part of the whole. We don't sell any one thing each day. It's a group of things. So it's hard to put a. We actually carry it on the computer, but each day is different.
What's been the most rewarding part so far?
Seeing kids come in, they've been away from the store, and now they're growing up. And they come in, they come back. I used to come here all the time. You know, it's kind of fun, and they remember you. Or you walk in the store and somebody yells your name because they knew you from the store. It's pretty cool.
You talked about how somebody came and actually approached you about doing a commercial for your store.
Well, they ran a commercial in the store. They never aired it though. It's very interesting, and the big thing about it is it's a New York union, so they can't really they can't shoot in New York. The stores are too small, so our store is bigger. So that's why they picked us. So.
What do you hope that, like in the future, how do you think it'll change? Do you think the hobbying itself will change, the kinds of things that people do? Do you think that it'll change or mostly stay the same, like in comparison to the generations before us?
Well, the hobby is constantly evolving. All hobbies have to evolve. Our store, if it doesn't evolve, it dies. So we're always reinventing what we do. From classes, we run classes and seminars, just to keep people coming in. The gaming will evolve also. We hope to keep it on the tabletop and not go to computer because we lose something in that. So we're hoping to keep that whole social thing going.
What's been the hardest part so far?
Money,
Money?
by far. Impossible to keep these stores open.
Right.
We struggle every day with it. And it's really because of the internet. And it's the economic downturn. And it's anytime there's a bad news thing on the TV, people don't come in. They're too worried about other things than coming and doing hobbies. We get the last dollar everyone has. But if people can't go away on vacation, we're like a nice little vacation for them. So eventually it comes around and we start selling stuff again.
How do you hope to change hobbying, not only, in this area, but in general? Like, how do you hope that your store will change things?
Well, we're looking, actually, we want to seriously think of doing some small seminars on video to teach people how to do stuff, where they can touch our site and actually get, how-to things, how to do things, how to assemble things, how to play games. That would be nice. That's a nice evolution for us.
What do your kids think about all this?
They love it. They're always there. They want to be there. They try to help, and they do what they can to keep it going. So it's a real family thing for me to keep it going. And a lot of my friends have become family to try to keep it going. So it's kind of nice when strangers, well, not strangers, friends, actually help you try to succeed. That's very cool.
Does your store have a website?
We do. It's maplewoodhobby.com. So they can go there and eventually see a video on how to make things, which would be cool. Yeah.
So there's like tutorials.
Well, not yet. We're working on
Okay.
that. We will have that. That will be. Maybe you can host that.
Can you order things on it?
Typically, we do ordering, but it's usually an email system right now. Eventually, we'll do it through the website. Right now, it's an email system.
Well, thanks to our host John Celia and his talking about his hobby store. Again, that's Maplewood Hobby. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.